Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to another aero testing video. Luckily this time it's already my bike that's going to be tested in my setup. So it's the Colnago that I've been talking about in previous videos with all the upgrades that we are planning. So all that is done. And the reason why we haven't done testing yet on it is because, well, it's quite tricky to mount all the sensors that we needed, particularly the aero sensor itself, to the front of the bike in a suitable manner, but luckily we have that now dialed with this little makeshift holder. We had a design manufactured that didn't work, but I was able to bodge it. This really is a bodge as it is right now, but it's stable and it works. You need to have the stable base for the sensor, otherwise it will vibrate as you ride along and you will not get good data. So it needs to be bolted on tight. Yeah, and that was the part that we were struggling with. Now it's done, so we're going to do the first couple of runs. With the setup, I've already made the adjustments and the parameters are set up in the sensors, so that's all well and good. What I'm going to do is test different stack heights, test different reaches, as you can see the rises are offset, so we can swap those around. And first and foremost, we're going to start with some helmets. So that's on schedule right now. We have everything prepared, so now it's just time for me to go. Okay guys, so I've just completed the first round of runs with the 3 different helmets. I only chose these ones because these are the ones that perform well in general for me. So that's the Kask Mistral Med Drone and Speed Protection Redeemer. And just as I predicted, they're all extremely close. So my CDAs run a bit high at the moment because, to be honest, I forgot my pump at home, so my tire pressure is low. So this makes the number low because the rolling resistance is high. But anyway, the Kask Mistral was the fastest for now, 0.185. Yeah, that's the result of the pressures. Normally I'm in the 1/7, but we'll have the pump fetched over soon, so we'll correct for that. And then, yeah, the 2 other helmets are 0.187, so yeah, that's just a few watts of difference in between the 2. So now I'm going to carry over with the Kask now and then retest, because the very first calibration run turned out a 188 with the Kask, so it's all very close. That's probably the reason. Well, the reason for that is probably because, yeah, you know, my position and the speed that I can ride at here, even at low power, is quite high, so the runs are quite consistent. I've been doing this for years. I know how to hold the position, so in that sense it's easier to test for myself as with the clients. I can see, you know, the head position and the chest position all within half a centimeter on average. So yeah, not to boast, but that's just to show you how, you know, a few weeks ago we were testing a triathlete and he was within 3-4 centimeters. I'm in 5 millimeters literally, so that's a 10-fold difference in the stableness of the position. So yeah, a lot of people are constantly asking how is it possible to be a good time trialist. Well, this is one of the key aspects of that. So yeah, this is what you need to practice, and this comes with years of riding the time trial bike. So yeah, the helmets, pretty much that is a wash. We're going to retest that soon, but what I'm more interested in perhaps is the position. So right now I have 2 sets of stackers on me, and both of them are reversible, so that makes them basically create 4 different stack and reach combinations, which we're going to try. When I look back at the previous data, it seems to me that despite the trend to going to a taller position, it doesn't really work that well for me, and we're going to try a lower stack position that's closer to me, so I'm more bunched up, more like Remco rides, for example. And that's the kind of position that I use to win my time trial nationals in 21. So yeah, hopefully we can get back or close to that same level of performance with this bike. And yeah, that will be what we're looking for next. So let's get some more runs in. It's quite hot, so it's not easy. I have to keep on top of the hydration, but it's good for, you know, the temperature acclimation as well. So yeah, productive day in all senses. Okay guys, so we've done quite a few runs at the total of 65 kilometers just going there and back. So it was a thorough test we've done on a few topics. So we've concluded with the helmets. The casque was the best for me, although I have to say the seat protection was much better ventilated and had much more vision, and was very close in drag numbers also. So for long races that might be a better thing. For short time trials the casque is the most aero for now. So I'm happy with that. As I said, we started with the CDA around 185, which is really high for me usually, but that was also due to the tire pressure. However, as we were messing around with the position, I've shown you the riders that we had before. So one thing I wanted to try is what is now fashionable, is maxing out the reach within the UCI limits to push the bar forward. And for this you also need to increase the stack height, because geometrically, as you're pushing your forearm or your upper arm forward, you need a bit more stack to keep yourself in the same position. And the idea behind this is to flatten out the shoulders and to create more of a streamlined section from the upper arm. Unfortunately, this for me doesn't work at all, it seems. When we switched back to the lower risers with less forward offset, so these ones have 25 mil, these only have 10, so that's 15 mil backwards, and they're also 10 mil lower. And immediately in that instant my CDA dropped for 185 to 172, which is a huge gap, and that is where I should be normally when everything is set up correctly with the position. Yeah, so with that I was quite happy already. We also tried swapping them out, so we changed the forward offset to rearward offset to bring the bar even closer, but this was worse again. This was 175, so that's not the way to go. One thing that we'll try next is to just create a set that is in line, so between those two measurements, just straight up. That will be 10 mil shorter, to maybe see if maybe that works. Then we tweaked the position a little bit more. We got down to 169, which is a really excellent CDA. Then I tried the TT5 helmet also. Quite a hyped helmet. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's no magic in there. And for me, there's a problem with it because the visor is just too tall. So I can't push my head low enough to make this helmet work. And that was shown in the numbers. It was quite slow. So maybe I'll try it with the visor cut off. It has two visors anyway, and one of them has the tab broken off it, so maybe I'll try to hack that and test that again. Then I went back to the casque helmet. One thing I also noticed was that the rear disc was rubbing, because I don't know, there some bend got in it, which I straightened out. With that, as I said, we got to 169, so I'm happy with that. And another thing that I wanted to try was a little hat under the helmet, on the basis of basically what the TT5 headstock was based on. Okay, so you get what I mean. Anyway, that has been banned, but the principle stays that if you use something to cover up your hair and your ears, you can make the airflow in your helmet a bit more efficient, so, and a bit more streamlined, and it helps with that hack. we got down to 165, which is a really brilliant CDA. And then I did a few fast runs because normally I test around 250, 270 watts. I did the last one at 300 and the CDA was still intact, still 165, no imbalance, no problems with the position, no problems with the power. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm just after my summer break, so the fitness is not quite what it needs to be at the moment, but we'll work on that. And if you can get the or the FTP back to the 300 to 320 zone on the TT bike with that 165 CDA, that will be a really fast setup. I think it's also partly down to the cranks, obviously, because it narrows down the Q factor a lot. So I'm happy with how that performs. And since I'm doing some non-UCI events as well, I'll try to also make some non-UCI hacks. So a few things that I want to test in the future is bottle arrangements behind the saddle. So those usually help make the position faster. And also, not strictly UCI legal, depends on what you use, but just stuff the front of the skin suit with something, because a lot of triathletes are doing it. Pros in the World Tour are doing it with the radios and stuff. So perhaps there's something that we can use as well with gels or whatever to make the position faster. I wanted to actually test it out today, but I only have fairly large bottles. And with this, you know, the suit is obviously quite tight. So when I put it on inside, it just opens up the opening of the suit. Yeah, which is not what you want. So those are the next thing that we're going to try. And the last thing to finalize with the position is the stack. Now we have a fairly like a middling setup, not very tall, not very low. So obviously I'll try to experiment with that a bit more. We do have the reach dialed in more or less. And yeah, the bike performs great. Everything is working as it should, and we got the really low numbers as well. Actually 165, yeah, that's the fastest setup I ever had. If I think back to the Shift TT that I won the Nationals on, that was tested at 172 in the wind tunnel, the size small. Then the following year I went to the extra small, got down to 170. So 165 is definitely a big leap and a good step forward. So yeah, I guess that's all for today. Honestly, I'm a bit exhausted too, because even though it's not any particular moment that you ride, you know, at high intensity for a long time, but this stopping and getting going again and getting cooled off and warmed up, and yeah, it's not very pleasant on the body, and I have some tough sessions as my weekends training. So yeah, let's conclude this one with 165. Happy with that. And then we'll continue, well, next week probably with the other stuff that I was planning to do. So if you're interested in that and the results that we get, then of course stay tuned to the channel and subscribe for more updates later on. And of course, if you want to have your own Aero setup dialed, this service is not reserved to me or the professionals that you've already seen having this done. We can do this for all triathletes, time trialists, or even road racers who want to, or ultra riders, whatever, who want to optimize their setup aerodynamically. So if you're interested in that, then you can reach us through links down below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.